Welcome to the No Collar Podcast, where we talk about jobs and careers that freak our parents out. Mama, yo, way! Today we have Paolo Valenzuela. He is here to talk about pretty much his 20s. We're all in this place where we did what we wanted and that stuff freaked our parents out. So Paolo specifically has a background in music. He does a lot of amazing things, but a lot of what he was able to do and what I think he's going to be able to share with us today is going to be stemming from his music background, and he'll tell us how he's come to where he is today and some advice that he can share with all of you. So welcome, Paolo.
Hey, what's up?
Good to have you on here, brother.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Thank you guys for having me tonight.
For sure.
All right, so we'll do a quick introduction. So I'm Nella, of course, co-host The Brown Kim Possible at Professionella.
I'm Trevor.
It should be getting easier, not harder.
Right?
I'm just bad at talking. I'm just really bad at it. But yeah, I'm Trevor.
What's up, Trevor?
Not much.
I'm Nick, MTech Nick on the IG. Catch me on the gram. And yeah, we're glad to be here. Yo, this is our second week consistently.
Consistent.
I'm so proud of us.
Yes.
Consistency is key.
It is high key.
Definitely.
Wait, we have an extra guest in the studio today.
We have a live show.
We have a live show today.
My girlfriend's joining me, Taylor, over here in the corner.
They can't see you waving.
She waved.
She waved to y'all. Love is mutual.
Yes. All right.
Yes.
So we've been talking already about a completely different path that Paolo's gone on, but
Very
to keep it concise, it might make its way through the episode depending on Trevor and how he edits. But let's start with how old were you when you got into music, and how did you find your way into music?
I was probably about, I would say about 16. In all reality, it started in house parties. You know, my cousin was a DJ. I was running the show. He had to play music. I had to make sure this party had everything. At time 16, you had to make sure you had booze, That's really where it started.
True.
It kind of just went from there.
So you're literally the life of the party.
I don't see it that way, but yeah, behind the scenes, we made sure everything ran, What's up?
Awesome.
That's cool.
Then how did you scale from there, get into music outside of the management side? Because it seemed like you were managing your cousin, and then you slowly got onto the entertaining
slowly
side.
But surely, having my cousin in the nightlife industry and just being all around it, he was always really just trying to push me to start DJing and look forward to doing those kind of events with him. So one thing led to another. I started DJing about at age 18. And thankfully for him, he was in a position where he brought me in. He got me a few gigs, and the roles kind of flipped. It went from me helping him out to him putting me on stage and be like, now it's your turn. It kind of started from there. It was 18. I was fresh out of high school.
Mm-hmm. So where were your parents when you were throwing these parties?
Where were these parties?
If we talked about 16, I used to rent people's houses. So if I had a friend, I'd be like, yo, tell your mom, let me borrow your home. I'll shoot you some cash. It would work. It would work for me. But most of the time, and to be honest, I think it was probably my senior year, is one of my last parties. I got busted by my mom. I had 2 kegs. I had a stack of money in my room, and I fell asleep on my bed, and the thing just falls over. My mom comes in and just like, what in the heck? Why is there so much money on the floor? I'm asleep, and I'm just like, wait, what? What's going on? And that's kind of where it all just started with my parents. They're just and I was really like, look, Mom, I'm not doing drugs. I promise. We supply beer. Yes, I'll be honest. And this is just stuff that I make from the door. That's all it is. I'm not doing anything bad. I just thought supply and demand. That was really what I was thinking.
True. You were an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Did they see that in you? Did they
yeah, most definitely, man. I knew I wanted to become or be an entrepreneur, whichever way you want to see it in 2020.
Yeah.
Probably when I was about 6, before I even knew how to spell entrepreneur. I knew the word, I knew what it meant, didn't know how to spell it.
That's what's up.
Yeah, that's I've always known that was gonna be me.
So you've always had that hustle.
Yeah, and they knew that. They were. I realistically started working when I was 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your first hustle?
Yeah.
I used to work at a swap meet.
Oh yeah.
I used to work at a swap meet on a corner selling car parts.
Bro,
wow.
I worked a swap meet for one day, and called it quits.
It was tough, you know.
Yeah, it was so tough, man. We were selling sunglasses that were like very cheap and not that tinted.
Yeah.
And we just like rented a spot one morning.
Yeah.
Woke up at like 4:30 in the morning. Drove out there with my buddy. He just had like all these from his uncle. He said, go and try and sell these. So we pull up. We didn't have any. We had like 2 displays that were just came with the kit.
Yeah.
Like he used to sell them at the gas station. So we had like all these bags of sunglasses, and we're like, let's go to the swap meet and sell sunglasses. And we post up, and like nobody. The only people that bought sunglasses were from the booths next to us. We probably made $40 a day, but
hey man,
it was so tough.
Learning sell anything, you know.
Yeah.
You really can.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started working when I was 10 years old. I wanted to learn. I used to go to work, come home, and get a beating from my parents.
Ooh,
because my father wouldn't want me to work. Because in my father's eyes, it was just like, kid, you have food, you have everything you need.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to be working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I wanted to learn because I saw what my father was doing, and I was just like, I want to learn what what you're doing. So I would sneak out of the house at 5 a.m. to go.
Yeah.
To go work. Yeah, just go hustle.
What did your dad do?
My dad works for the hospital.
Okay.
I'll be honest, he cleans dead people.
What?
Dang.
Yeah.
Someone has to do it.
Somebody has to do it.
Yeah.
My pops does that. He's been doing that all my life. Yeah.
Damn.
Intense.
That's what's up, man. And then, where you guys from originally?
My parents from Guatemala, Central America.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Fontana.
Okay.
Parents migrated from Guatemala in early 80s probably. Just about.
Yeah.
They came this way and figured it out.
That's what's up. And so I'm assuming they had like kind of bigger dreams for you to like go do something.
Future. So my name comes from a famous soccer player. So I think my dad wanted me to play soccer, but that wasn't gonna happen. But yeah, I think my parents always just wanted more for us. Didn't really know which route, but was definitely we did this, so let's help you do more. And that's the way I see it. My parents did, they did 10 times as much as they ever thought they probably could. So I always wanted to do 10 times more than what I could.
That's awesome. Man. So they instilled it in you from an early age, kind of thing.
Yeah, most definitely. My parents really just taught me go get what you want and work hard for it. There's no real shortcuts. I
feel that.
Wow. So it's great that you had your cousin to bring you into. I'm not even that way because you started house parties with your cousin, and then he was able to pick up into the club scene and the parties, and then you were able to go there as well. And then when you were 18, you said you got into it, but was there like an age where it just got to the next level, like you knew this was going to like sustain you?
Never.
No.
It was more about what's next. Like, I don't know, it was just working with my cousin just together. It was just like one giant mind, and it was more about what's next, and for him, it was, I want to play a bigger stage. For me, it was just like, I want to own the building, and we kind of just kept grinding at it, hustling every day at it, whatever direction we were able to take, because we had to figure it out. There was no one to teach us anything. There was no one to say, you're doing something wrong. We were just like, let's just get on to the next gig. Let's just keep going. And one gig led to another. Next thing you knew, 2 years later, we're gigging almost 3 times a week, every week for a year. Whether it was the same club, vice versa, or just traveling, it would just keep on going. And you just kind of just like, holy crap, you're just there. I think we didn't realize how tunnel visioned we were at one point.
So you just kind of woke up one day and all of this was here.
Literally, like all of it was there, and we're just like, where are we?
Wow.
Who are we?
Like normally we ask about like the naysayers or people who like supported you, but it sounds like you were so tunnel vision, you didn't even have the opportunity for someone to say, why are you doing this? You shouldn't be doing this.
Well, my parents.
Okay.
They, for the first couple of years, they didn't really believe in what we were doing. They just thought we were partying, getting drunk, and wasting our life,
They didn't see the vision.
Yeah. They didn't see the vision, and they didn't really start seeing it until we started actually traveling. My first gig out of California was Virginia, and I needed a ride to the airport, I told
Just
my
cut him
dad.
off guard. You're like, by the way,
Yeah,
I'm out.
exactly what I did. I was just like, we didn't have Uber back then. We didn't have none of that stuff, And that's my dad. That was a day he was just like, damn, this kid's doing something. I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing something.
What were they trying to push you towards before they actually believed in you? Like, were they like, this isn't working out, why don't you try this?
I think with me, I can't really say they did that with me. They did ask me about school a handful of times.
Yeah.
But at that time, it was recession time. It was 2008. It was recession time.
Yeah.
My brother was in college, and it was just like there's no financial real way for me to go to school unless, let's say, we put the house on a loan or something. I was just like, yo, I'm not about that.
Yeah.
So...
That is a trip because I literally knew people I went to high school with who were like, "Oh, my parents will put up the house." Like, they didn't even bat an eye to have their parents put the house up for them to go to school, and that blew my mind. I mean, I was very naive when it came to how to pay for college, but it also blew my mind that someone could just be like, "Oh yeah, I'm just about to give my parents exactly. It's not your house." I was like, wow. But I mean, it's great that at your age you understood. I mean, if you've been working since you were like 6-10 years old, or you've always had this kind of mindset, you understood that to get something, you have to give something. And in this situation, it's money. And where is it going to come from?
Was there ever a moment that you thought you could benefit from school or from higher education?
I dropped out of college 3 times.
3 times? When was the first time that you went to college?
When right after high school, I signed up. I started at Chafee.
Okay.
6 months in, I dropped out.
You were still doing like the gigging and stuff, right?
Yeah, okay. I was trying to be responsible. It's funny. Got a day job at Target. That was my first job ever. I was already gigging, and I had my manager give me weekends off so I could do my gigs, go to work. And at one point, I was just falling asleep in class. So I was just like, this isn't working. And as young and naive as I was like, I'm making way more bread doing this. This college thing isn't for me. Boom, I just dropped out. My parents were pissed, but whatever. We just kept moving.
Right on. And what were you pursuing in college?
Business. Yeah, it was always business.
Because you're still going to be business minded.
Yeah, I've always been business minded. I always said, I'm street smart. I need to be book smart too. It was always like, that was kind of always a goal, was to be a 50-50 split, because I felt like that'd be my advantage. If I can get a degree, cool, because everyone can get a degree. But not everyone puts in the work on the street. And I don't mean drug dealer or nothing like that.
Like, so what else were you doing?
Nothing like that.
So then, when did you make that transition to owning the building?
I was about 22.
Dang.
I was about 22 years old, and I realized that I had to make a decision at that point. In music career, it was either it sucks because you have to categorize yourself as what type of DJ you are, and I was so open format, like I just love to spin. At heart, I still love to spin, but I had to choose a route, and I was deciding to go radio. I was deciding to go performance or producer. And I gave the producer side a bit of time, but I really wasn't loving it, So then we went back a few steps, and I was like, what was really the goal? And I was owning the building. So I started looking for a building to buy. I went from all over Southern California just looking for a building to buy. And kept hunting. And, did the footwork and just found places. I found cities, and I was like, yo, can I do this here? Hey, can I do this here? And I didn't know I needed permits. I didn't know a lot of things. I was just like, just like, what are you trying to do? I'm trying to build a nightclub. Is it cool? No. Okay. That's really what it was. And eventually, I called a few people, and I was like, hey man, like, how do I buy a building? What do I gotta do? And someone connected with me, someone in LA, and I had the opportunity to buy a building. I was like, all right, cool, let's buy it.
That's awesome.
I was about 22, almost 23 when I bought it.
Wow.
Sick.
And was
that person like a part of your journey while you were DJing, or like how did you come into contact or even think to ask for help?
It's funny. He was no part of my journey. He was no part of anything I was doing. He was just a part of a nightclub that I was working at, and he was doing it. He was day in, day out, just doing it. Sold out every was it Friday or Thursday or Saturday, sold out. So I said, hey man, how? I want to buy a building. And he kind of gave me the rundown. And he just asked me questions like, dude, do you have the cash for this? And I was just like, yes. I just don't know how to do it. But back to going to 18, like, that was a goal. I remember having a friend, I used to tell her, like, yo, I'm gonna buy a nightclub. Like, I'm gonna buy a nightclub, and made it happen.
That's awesome, man.
You went back and told her that you bought the nightclub?
Yeah, my grand opening, I called her. And I was like, yo, what happened? She was like, what happened? I was like, I bought a nightclub. And awesome. I said, come through, I flew her out from the East Coast, and I was like, come through. This is happening. Yeah, just little by little. It's just, again, I was so tunnel visioned. Didn't even realize it.
That's awesome. I think I keep telling people that, like, you just have to just take it one step at a time, and it's difficult to do that. But when you are tunnel vision, you're only seeing your feet in front of you. Sometimes you don't even see your feet in front of you. You're just continuing moving. It's crazy, but it's awesome how you were able to make that happen. Like, fulfill your promises. I feel like a lot of people talk, and we're all supposed to, like, talk this big game and fake it till we make it, and then when it actually comes to fruition, I think that's really sick.
Yeah, I think the tunnel vision is, the less you think about it, the more you try to get to that portion of it. The more you put everything aside, and you don't realize that, like, you're just going. Because we joke around like, yo, these are my 20s, but I was cruising, you know what I mean? I was just doing my thing, cruising, and then, things happen, and then, you get to come to a stop, but you just stay focused. You put everything else aside, and there's no worries. You're just loving what you're doing,
Do it to your fullest.
Yeah.
So man, no, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, so how was nightclub ownership? Like, how did
sucked.
that go? It sucked.
It sucked.
Quickly realized
it wasn't what you thought.
It was everything I wanted, but there was a lesson in everything I was doing. Everything had a problem. I need a permit for this. I would build my own stages every weekend, and I wanted to have pyrotechnics. I need a permit. Jeez, man, I own the damn building. Let me do what I want. I wanted to hang this up 20 feet in the floor. You gotta get city inspector. Oh, jeez, man, like, let me just do what I want. I own the place. It's my house. Doesn't work that way. And competition. There's always competition, and when it's all tunnel vision, the only competition is you. But they're gonna come for you. So it was a great shitty experience. I loved it. I did it, but all those mistakes, I think, just taught me a lot more for life, really.
So would you do it again, or
hell yeah?
Is that the goal right now, or
it's not. I've let it go.
You've let it go?
I let it go because I'm a true believer that a real business person will hold up his L up high and move on. Because if you keep chasing that, you're just gonna be chasing your own tail. And then that debt, that everything you put into it, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And I'm not saying no one can ever come back from something, but it just gets harder, mentally. It just starts getting harder, and to me, it's more of the best lesson I had. So that's the only reason I won't go back to. So you count it
to experience.
Yeah, definitely.
And was it a successful nightclub? Like,
for the time being, I had it. Yeah.
For the time, so the whole time you had it, everything was good. You just eventually got sick of it.
It's not even that I got sick of it. The industry has its ways of pushing people out. If you don't want to work with people and things like that, and it's not that I don't want to work with everybody, but it's my house. I want to run it. There's bigger companies. And that's something that I learned. Depending on what market you're in, you're gonna have to be playing with people. And I was just so used to just doing my thing and minding my business, that eventually when I didn't want to play with certain, companies, they were butthurt about it. But bigger companies, more power. And that's how the music industry is. There's a lot unforsaken power in other people's hands. You know, that's kind of like why I got pushed out and how to sell. You know? Yeah.
So what kind of, if you mind talking about it, like what kind of issues did you face with these big corporations? Like, were they funding? Were they like artists that were just now like saturating other clubs, or?
It was a lot of, you know, you're willing to pay for someone's performance, and they're under contract by other corporate companies. You know, so you wouldn't even know because they don't stamp them like, oh, I'm owned by so and so. It's just that they have a contract with someone, so they can't play in this area. So you're just like, well, damn, man, I'm running out of people I want to book. You know, and if I'm not playing with that company, you know, then I get screwed and don't want to. I can't book anybody. You know, but you know that's what ended up kind of happening. You know, I wasn't able to book people that I really wanted for the type of show that I throw, and eventually it was just like, all right, well, the well's dry. You know, I can't do much, and well, here's a knock on my door and said, well, it's time to sell, kid. You had your time. That's really what it came down to.
And so they bought you out essentially then.
Yeah, essentially.
What was the best part of it? Like, what was maybe like one of the sickest parties you threw? What was your most favorite moment of that whole thing, that whole experience?
You want to know something funny out of owning a club? I think my favorite parties I would throw would be the ones that I'd rent a farm and have like 4,000 or 5,000 people show up.
No way.
That was probably my favorite. Crazy. Like the club was a more of a goal, was something that I got to. Yeah. But being able to bring in, you're just some kid from a small town and you have 4,000 people at someone's farm that you rented, and you just built this massive stage somewhere, and it's just like, yo, we're just out here, you know. Like, those are probably my favorite moments out of it, honestly. Yeah,
that's
like
cool. Just doing something out of this world, like throwing
like,
basically a festival, like
You know, I had 4,000 or 5,000 people. We're just, and it was all by like a tweet or something like that, you know. And they were just like, we don't know what we're gonna do with all these people, but they're here. Yeah, you know. And I think that was like my favorite, honestly, out of all of it. The club was cool. Yeah, the favorite part of my club was walking through my door. That's cool. It was a 20-foot door. I just walked through it, you know, and it's like, it's my place.
That's sick. So, I mean, I'm gonna ask a question. I just want to know the answer to the question. So, why do you have to keep building the stage if it's your club?
Oh, true.
But you said you had to put it up and take it back down. Or
one of our specialties, it's my cousin's fault. It's my cousin's fault. He likes things a certain way, so that rubbed off on me. So for me to give the artist I booked an experience so they can give the guests the experience, I wanted like every picture that people took to be a different look on the stage. So it was never just like I came back to the club. No, like it was just like completely different. Yeah, you know, because you can go to the club every night and it's the same damn building, same damn light. Yeah. You know, so that was my thing. You know, and it was a lot of work for it, but it was a satisfaction. Like we just switched it up. That was really what it was.
Yeah, you're just looking out for like your quality of your
product. Yeah, definitely. It was all about quality for us. You know, it was a lot of sweat doing it, but it was definitely for the quality of it.
What was the name of your club?
Can't talk about it.
Oh, yeah. My bad.
Nah, it's cool.
That's crazy. Like this kind of like going after, I don't want to call you the little guy, but essentially that's what it was. And
I'm
that's
a little guy in a big body.
But me, it blows my mind that the fact that you went in, quality was your focus, and you're changing up the stage.
At such a young age too.
Right, every single time. And so because you're putting in this much sweat, it's almost like because you couldn't turn it into like the machine that these larger companies are able to do, is pretty much why they were able to pick at you. Because if you were like, okay, well, I'm just gonna do it how everybody else is doing it, and maybe I'll stay in maybe a few more years, or I guess you have to kiss a few people's butts, or you have to rub shoulders with the right people to be able to stay in the game longer.
Yeah, I mean, at that age, my ego was way up, and
like I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I'm not. You know what I mean? As you get older, so you start learning in business, you start realizing those relationships really matter. Really but carrying yourself matters. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Man. So I gotta ask, what's next? Like, what's the next goal?
Oh man, what's next? I had to take a few steps back. So, like, to answer your question just thoroughly, it's taken me a long time from, moving on to letting it all go. to reestablish my mental health, to reestablish myself and how I think. You know, sometimes I think like, damn, I miss me, you know, because I used to be this tunnel vision person that just didn't care, just went on, you know. So to answer your question, I really want to build a real estate empire.
Okay.
You know, like, if I had to think of when I was a child, I never wanted to be a DJ. I never wanted to be a club owner. I wanted to own buildings.
Yeah.
That's what it was, you know, and everything just escalated. You know, I remember, I used to tell my mom, I never forget this one. I was like, Mom, we need to open a lot and just park big rigs. They'll pay for parking. I promise. Well, they'll pay for parking. And I think I was probably 11.
That's crazy.
You know,
That's exactly what happened.
Genius idea.
The people pay so much to park.
They do, you know, and I used to think of it, and like I would draw like numbers. I don't even know if they were right, you know. I'm like, Mom, this makes sense. You know, and so I had to go back to that, you know, and that's really what's next. It's you know, having a development, you know, for apartments or something, and just build an empire, you know, not because of wealth or anything, just goals, you know.
So, would you say you're still in the building up phase, like recouping phase, or are you kind of making steps in that direction right now? Like,
I think I'm still in the recouping stage, but I'm making steps.
Okay.
I say recouping because I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know anything about real estate.
Okay.
You know, I have to relearn something, you know? Like, I did something for almost 10 years and like, that's all I knew, you know? But now I have to separate my thoughts of what I've learned and put them in perspective of life now.
Okay.
You know, definitely use my lessons. And honestly, that's why I'm here tonight. I love sharing my experiences. I love sharing it and see if people can grow from it, you know? Because if we're not growing together, then what are we growing for? You know, plants grow together.
So true.
Really appreciate that, man. Appreciate you coming on. That's that's some real life stories, man. It'd be like the regular guy. You're like, wait, you used to own a nightclub? Like, tell me more, bro. Like,
I'm just like minding my business. You know, you know.
Gosh, I mean, it's like almost like you've lived a lifetime
and you're
in like 10 years.
You're still young.
Bro, I'm thinking you're over here like maybe 40, 50.
I'm glad I'm not. You know, I'm glad I'm not. You know, I didn't even think. I don't even.
Not that you look it. It's just your experience.
I get it.
Let's make that clear.
I remember, you know, thinking up to about 25.
Yeah.
From 25 to 30, I didn't think anything. I didn't like picture myself. You know, I would just. I'm about to be 30.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what I'm doing.
That's a trip. I'm almost kind of feel like you're going to do this for 10 years. You'll build this empire. And then at 40, I don't know if we'll still be doing a podcast, but
it'll still be here.
It will definitely still be out there for everyone to consume.
Yes.
But
he's going to be like, what's the ultimate form of real estate? Running the damn country. Like,
I know, right? Like, what will he be doing in another 10 years?
I don't even know. I stopped thinking about time frames, you know?
Yeah.
Not for
honestly, that kind of liberates you in a sense when you kind of just, if you can like take the stress and the pressure away of time frame, it kind of allows you to be more.
Agree, man. Agree. You know, just being in sales, you know, you take that away and you just keep killing it.
That's true.
And as long as you hit your goals, we got there. You know, sometimes we think of a year, you know, which is 365 days, a long time, but then you get to January and it's like that was nothing. So if you let go of that, you'll probably be able to accomplish more and not beat yourself up so much.
Yeah,
that's what I think about it, at least.
That's a good way of thinking.
I feel like that's like advice. Like, I wanted to ask you, like, what kind of advice would you give to somebody? But I mean, there's so many different ways to go at it. I'm not even quite sure. Like, what kind of advice would you give to someone who's like beating themselves up, or what kind of advice you go to somebody who has
yourself up.
No idea what they're doing?
You know, that's like honestly the only reason I say that, because I beat myself up. You know, I'm really hard on myself. Like, I really want to accomplish things. You know, and we all do. Yeah. But if you take so much time to beat yourself up, you can use that time to do other small things and move forward.
Yeah.
You know?
What were your biggest fears during that time? Like, what like scared you? I know you had tunnel vision and you were kind of focused on your thing, but like, what scared you at the time?
I didn't have any fears.
You didn't have any fears.
None.
You were just.
That's why I go back to the whole who I used to be, because I didn't have any fear. Like,
I feel that
it was that or nothing, you know. And so I didn't think about a lot of those things, but those same reasons I didn't think were the same reasons why also I believe I failed. You know, if I would have slowed down and said, "Dang, we're here, let's think a little bit more because there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
I probably would have moved on forward, you know.
I see. More. What are some of your fears nowadays?
Losing again.
I respect that.
I feel like it's like when you play. Well, look at me. I'm about to do a sports analogy. Oh. All right. So
let's have it.
So it's when you're playing a sport, let's say basketball.
Mm-hmm. The basketball?
Yeah,
my attention.
And you tear your ACL.
Oh, Lord.
And then it's like you're scared to do your jump shot, or you're scared to like go really hard on the court because you remember like the pain and how hard you had to work to get back up to it, and you don't know if your body's going to be able to handle it the way that it did before.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. You know, you went all in on something. Can I, you know, all that stuff. It just really starts to hit hard, and you're just like, but you have to get past that. You know, you have to just keep pushing, and that's really what it comes down to. Are you gonna push or not? You know, I personally don't. There's nothing wrong being average, but that's just not me.
Okay. Is there anything like you're specifically doing to like help you like retrain yourself to just push past that? For lack of a better word, I want to use a different word than fear, but push past that.
Partially still kind of figuring that out, you know, but just knowing that I need to slow down. You know, there was a time where I was just go, but I need to slow down and take in perspective, you know, not take in fear.
Yeah.
You know, perspectively, okay, we did this, now let's move on to this, or, you know, we're okay, keep moving, instead of just...
Oh, like checking in with yourself.
Yeah, checking in.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What if you could go back in time and give younger you, 22-year-old you, some advice, what would you say to yourself to do differently, or I don't know, what would you say to yourself basically before buying the club? Like,
slow down and think. Like, I feel like that was my biggest mistake, is I didn't slow down. Like, I'd get a phone call at 12 o'clock at night from a club in San Diego. Yo, pull up. Be right there. I'm an hour and 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
Be right there. You know, like that was really that's how it really was, you know.
That's crazy.
So I think if I would have slowed down, I could have probably taken in everything in a different perspective, you know.
True. You know, this kind of like what we spoke about last episode, about like not taking like, well, at least for me, like me not taking every like gig that I can. Yeah, I feel like that's somewhat the same. Like sometimes we have to like slow things down, take them into perspective, see what the next step is. That way you're, you know, clear-minded, level-headed about things.
Yeah, we're in our phase of no right now.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, we don't have to say yes to everything. Yes. So it's like interesting how you're saying you would tell yourself like it's okay to say no. You know, you try to create some semblance of balance in your life, which is interesting because, you know, we're young. They tell us, oh, if I was your age and, you know, you'd take your life for, you know, for granted, or however it is that older people tell younger people. But we're like, okay, we've got these young bodies, this energy to just go after it and do it. And we don't realize, depending on the kind of mindset you have. So for example, someone like you would run yourself kind of into the ground. Whereas in somebody else who's, you know, a little bit more chill, more laid back, maybe doesn't have like the hyper vision that you do. They're like, okay, this is good. You know, this is like a nice pace for myself. But it's always interesting who you give that advice. And that's also why you have to get advice from different types of people and understand yourself better, which we don't do until we're older and now that therapy is like a thing. But
definitely,
we're in a place where it's like okay for us to like look into ourselves and have a better understanding of who we are. But like I said, depending on who you're getting advice from, knowing yourself and what to do with that advice is really important. So I feel like sometimes you just listen to all these podcasts or read certain books and you're like, why am I not figuring it out the way this person is doing it? Or there's all these gurus that we have now on Instagram and stuff like that. And you're like, maybe that person, maybe just throw it out there. Maybe Gary Vee isn't for you. Maybe, you know, you have to find who speaks to you. And I know that sounds like blasphemy, but I'm just trying to say that just people who listen to this episode or people who listen to any type of self-help or someone trying to give you direction, you have to understand who you are as best you can and kind of take that advice but it has to relate to who you are. So you don't want to just drive yourself so hard. You take little bits of everything and make it your own.
Definitely.
I think there's definitely that, and the fact that we have podcasts now.
Yeah.
You know, there is a time where we didn't have any of this. You know, we can only relate to the people around us. You know, so a lot of us now reflecting are like, I guess in a sense, took so long because, you know, we didn't have. Some of us probably did, some of us didn't. You know, had a really big group or a small group of individuals to help us think, or you know, there's a lot of things that I've learned now because of social media. You know, taking you know, stepping out my comfort zone and really worried about my mental health. I never knew I could break down. I never knew what depression was. I never knew what anxiety was. You know, it wasn't until people were explaining it to me. You know, and I was like, oh, I've had that.
I've experienced all of those.
Yeah,
I have all of them right now.
Yeah. You know? But now we have the younger generation where they have this all this around them, so they're able to see it. They're able to figure things out a bit quicker, you know? So that's one thing I've noticed. You know, there's so much out there now. There's so much information that you can see.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember Google back in the day. You know, it was not what it is now.
It's not turning out.
I can't remember
100,000 results.
I remember I used to go on the
count
second
the results to
page
be like,
look for information.
You go to the second page.
Like, sometimes there was not a second page. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Can you
Sometimes
imagine
it'd be
going
like-
on Google and not having 80 pages to search from? Like,
I'm like, what?
yeah, yeah, you're totally right on that, man.
True.
Something that's kind of resonant with all of our stories, I guess, is like a big family factor. How's your relationship with your family like nowadays, like or I guess during that time and then versus now?
Yeah.
It's a lot better now than then.
Yeah.
There was a time where I didn't want to be home. You know, no one believed in me. You know, no one believed in what I was doing. So the more gigs I had, the better.
Yeah.
The more opportunity I have to leave the house, whether it was a call to San Diego, whether it was a call to wherever I had to go, the better. You know. But over time, you start realizing, like, that's all you have.
That's true.
You know, so, I sound old, but I'm at a point where I appreciate my parents, you know. I appreciate my parents.
No, you're never too old or too young to appreciate your parents. But, you know,
yeah.
I do realize that, like, a lot of times my ideas frustrate my parents more than, like, me. And I have to, like, try hard to not take it personal. Because it's, like...
It's just they don't understand.
Exactly. They're, like, you know...
Because of the same reason, going back, they didn't have...
Exactly.
What we have now, you know, the bigger picture, like things are actually possible. You know, we can see that. They didn't. You know, that was my father. He was just, you know, he's an old timer.
Yeah.
You know, my mom would just think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Like, son, I don't know what you're talking about, but you go for it. You know what I mean? Like,
I love that.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
You know,
I had a similar moment to yours, like where I took one of the shop cars home, that green one I was showing you guys.
Yeah.
It was just parked. I had it for a week because we were doing some testing on it. And a contractor came to the house, and like I think some neighbors were like walking their dogs, and my dad happened to be outside like doing something with the yard. So both times they like approached him, they're like, "Yo, what's up with this car? Like, who's this? This thing is crazy. We really appreciate this car." And like that was the first time my dad like got like validation that like what I was doing was like you know kind of something serious, because they were like, "What's something like that cost?" Like probably like 50 to 60 grand. My dad's like, he just like randomly approached me one day. I thought he was gonna like get at me for like you know coming home late or something, and he's like, a lot of people are complimenting that car. I'm like, did you not see it with your own eyes? Like, but you know, it took like that outside validation for him to be like, oh, you know what? Like that guy was asking like if you guys build more of them and stuff like that. I took a different one home, and like one night my neighbor caught me outside. He's like, hey man, what would it take to buy something like that? And this is a guy that's like a GM for a Chevrolet dealership, but you know, he's had a GTR Nismo edition right when it came out. He's had the Hellcat Demon Red Eye right when it came out. Like he had two different GTRs. Like he's had all kinds of crazy like muscle cars, you name it. But he saw that because you can't just go out and buy that. He's just like, where do you get that? You know? So it's like when people start noticing, you're like, you know, it's nice to get that validation from your family side for them, you know. For you, when your dad took you to the airport, he's like, "Oh, this guy."
I mean, there was
traveling.
a whole lesson there, but he took me to the airport. I got my ear chewed out.
Oh yeah,
I got my ear chewed out. There's a whole lesson, but you know, after there was a validation, so I totally get you on that. You know, and it kind of sucks sometimes. You know? You're just like, what do you mean, Dad? That was just trash in the driveway, or what did you expect?
Yeah.
Nah, man, wear something.
You didn't know this whole time?
Yeah, like what you mean?
Like, what if I was doing it so you would realize, you know what I mean? But yeah, it is what it is. Like, you can't fault them for what they don't know, and all you can do is learn as much as you can. So that one day, I mean, I doubt anyone has parents that are going to hate on them for succeeding in doing what they love for the rest of their life. Like, there's no way that your parents can't be happy for you.
Yeah.
So
I would like to say at least immigrant parents. That's I think my I don't know. I could be wrong because I mean I've learned so much. Like I said, with social media, you know, there's are parents out there who just really be hating on their kids. You're like, dang, like goodness.
You gotta admit though, there's
gracious.
some kids out there like, why?
Who are worth hating on, I guess.
This kid doing this.
You
Right
don't know,
now.
like toxic, you know, family members and stuff like that. But I feel like, at least from our surrounding and our community, they really just want better for you, and they only know, like, no offense, they weren't telling you to go after a specific degree when you were going to college. They're just like, just go.
Yeah.
Whereas like I was like, okay, you need to become a doctor or a lawyer. So they're like, okay, well, these are the ones I want you to do. I didn't do those, but they do what they can. So it's just really interesting, depending on what your background is, the kind of support that you do get or you don't get, and what you do despite not having it anyway.
Yeah.
As long as you're happy, I think they'll always come by. You know, they'll always come through. That's something if all the stuff I did and I didn't get kicked out of my house.
Oh, you were living at home the entire time? Just to
Not the entire time.
Oh, okay. I was like, man, that's
not the entire time. No. But it's more, the beginning of it.
Okay.
You know, it was more of a metaphoric, you know, thing. It's just like, he won't kick me out. You know, it's more metaphorically.
Yeah, I feel you. You always still had that place to come home.
It was always home. It was always home.
But I mean, it's exciting to see, you know, your next, you know, act and what's coming up next. It's just awesome that we're also in a time and an age where we can do multiple things. So maybe there's something else afterwards. Like you said, tunnel vision, don't worry about the time length, but it's just awesome to know that anything's possible for you. So even people who are in their later 30s or even 40s, like they shouldn't feel like they don't have the opportunity to do something that they really enjoy.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, most definitely have to agree. You know, take the risk. What do you have to lose if you're not doing it?
Yeah.
To quote Gary Vee.
Shout out to
From
Gary
18
Vee.
to 25,
Goodness.
you're still young. You can still afford to mess up. He uses expletives there, but I'm not going to do that. But you still have time to.
I'll bleep them out if you want.
No, usually I just turn the episode into explicit.
Into explicit.
Yeah,
okay.
so everything else is clean. There's only one episode that we have that there's cursing, so that one's like, oh, that one's explicit, but everything else is rated
No, but
G or whatever.
Yeah, the point is,
Yes.
you're never too young. You know what I mean? Like, maybe take it more serious on your next endeavor at a certain age, but also if you have gone through kind of like what you went through in your early 20s, you're gonna come out with so much ahead for the next big thing you do that, you know. I'm excited. I'm gonna follow that story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Appreciate
definitely
that,
get your number.
man.
We stay in contact
Yeah, no, most definitely, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate the love out here. You know, it's just we just all gotta keep moving forward.
for sure.
You know?
Definitely.
We
And
are.
and it's focused on what's important to you.
Yeah.
So you can go ahead and go after this dream as long as you're willing to make sacrifices in some other aspect of your life. Like, we don't have to have the picket fence and, you know, 4 or 5 bedroom house or whatever the dream is that we're told we're supposed to want. We don't need that.
Well, thanks for joining us on our
Yes,
podcast.
thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
all the way to
Second
Riverside.
consecutive, killing it.
For real.
Thanks for
Yes.
having us.
Appreciate
Thank
you
Thank for
coming
having
through
me.
last minute,
No, it's
late
all
notice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Thank you so much, Paolo, for being with us today. And thank you to all of you who are listening. If you're listening to this episode, you've made it to season 2 of the No Color Podcast.
2020.
Woo! Yes,
We're doing
yes.
it.
So we're really excited to get some more content out to you guys soon. If there's any questions that you guys may have, feel free to reach out to us, the No Color Podcast at gmail.com. All of our socials, No Color Podcast on Instagram. We have Facebook. That I believe it's No Collar on Twitter. Just interact with us. We're really excited to really get some more of all of this amazing advice and these stories out to all of you. And if you're interested in sharing your story, please reach out to us as well. Have a great day, night, whatever it is, time of day you're listening to this, and we'll catch you next time.